What's up, people? It's your boy DB here. I've been tagged. Another tag video. I'm it. Time to get it done. I've been tagged by my friend Brooks. I appreciate you, mate. I'll take real good care of you. Here comes my video right now. It's DB. I'm about to take you behind the nonsense. So the tag video this is called is Sentimental tag. So this means there's something in your collection that is sentimental to you, kind of reminds you of something. So I've only got two because I don't really have much family that wears a lot of fragrances. I'm probably one of the few. I mean, my dad had Avon collections and stuff when we was a kid, but he didn't really wear it. The only thing you really smelled on him was a really cheap aftershave, maybe every now and then. And that's usually if like him and my stepmom were going out to eat. So I do have one that reminds me of a gentleman who I thought for all my life was my real grandfather. Technically, my real grandfather passed away when he was 40, so my real dad doesn't even know him. So therefore, I never knew him. And therefore, my stepmom's grandfather treated me like his own. And my grandma remarried, and that guy that treated me the same way, like his own. So this one fragrance will remind me of him because he wasn't a guy who wore a lot of aftershave, and then the other one just kind of reminds me of a time period in my life. So let's get to it. One of these is real new. My boy Chet Nagowski hit me up with this, and it's Paul Sebastian. And listen, guys, the way that, I mean, there's really no other way to describe this at all. This is a classic barbershop fragrance. When I smell it, I smell many different things in my life. And what this kind of reminds me of is when I was young, my dad took me to what we now consider an old-fashioned barbershop. Nowadays, you don't have the talcum and the when the guys got shaved, there was a certain splash that they put on them. For me, it was in the back of my neck. He would shave the back of my neck and splash me with this nice, beautiful stuff that he used to put on the back of me. But anyway, so that's what that kind of reminds me of. Just so laid back. And when I smell it, man, it just takes me back to a better time as a kid, when I was able to enjoy a good father and was able to enjoy the times. Me and my dad didn't spend a whole lot of time together. My dad was a hard worker, gone a lot of the times. Wasn't a truck driver, but a lot of the places that he worked at was really long hours. Sealy Mattress was one place he worked in. Sometimes he'd work from 6 in the morning. Sometimes I even worked there. We didn't get off till 4 in the morning. So really long hours that we spent there. But kind of just reminds me of going back and sitting in that barber chair with Mr. Fred and having Mr. Fred, you know, treat me like a grown man. It was just so much fun. He always used to ask me what I wanted, and there was only one style of haircut I ever got. But he, you know, he put the shaving cream up around the back of the neck, and it just reminds me of that so much. And really, it's really nostalgic for me. It kind of takes me back to a younger, more innocent time. With all this nasty stuff going on in the world, I kind of smell that fragrance, and it just, man, I go back to the 80s. And I really enjoyed that time in my life. I don't get along with my dad. I don't get along with my mom. So I've always been kind of that black sheep of the family type thing. So whenever I can go back to a good particular point in time in my life where I was able to spend any amount of good time with my dad, I'll take it. So let's move on from that one. This next one kind of reminds me of the guy that is my step-grandfather. I don't know why. That one kind of does too, but this is Cuba Royale. And I don't know. It just, the pipe maybe, and some of the aftershave that he wore kind of just had this smell. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why this is one of my favorite fragrances. I know it's a cheapie. I don't care. I'll wear anything that costs $2 all the way up to $2,000 if I can afford it. But it just kind of takes me back to a time where me and him used to spend a lot of time together. When I came over to visit my grandma, I always sat on Charlie's lap, and I always was the one that got the attention from him. My grandma used to love it. I used to come over. I had a guitar with plastic strings, and I would dance just like Elvis. I have pictures of it, believe it or not. So I am an Elvis lover. I know I shouldn't be at 42, but hey, I am. Nonetheless, I really, really enjoy this. Just kind of reminds me of him. I don't know why, but he was a good guy up until he put his hands on my grandmother, who passed away in 1993. So, you know, we didn't really hit it off too well after that. The family kind of blocked him out, and my dad really wouldn't let me go see him. So I understand that, and I was pretty upset with him too. And I know he's still alive, and I wish everybody all the goodness in life. I don't hate anybody. So, hey guys, thanks for keeping it real. Thank you, Pine Rocks, for tagging me in the video. Really appreciate it. And like I say, it just brings back memories, man. It almost makes you want to tear up a little bit. But anyway, simpler times in life. Hey, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I got another video coming up. I was tagged in. I want to go ahead and get it done. So this DB, and I just took you behind the nonsense.